Okay, I think it's time to start now. Okay, thank you for joining our ACCA free webinar. I'm Tommy, which is your tutor in the 1 hour time to share with you the F9 examiner approach. So before start the webinar, I would like to share with you some ground rules. First, in order to provide the best audio experience, your participation is welcome, and but would like to have the best audio experience. Could you please mute your voice in Skype so everyone can hear my voice clearly? And also no recording. Participants are welcome to raise questions, but please write down on the message box so that I can see your question and answer in the Q&A section. And last but not least, please enjoy the webinar. Okay, here is the agenda today. We will go through a lot of topics, which we focus on the F9 examination of its pass rate, the syllabus and exam format, the overall review of the September diet examiner's comments, and we focus on each section, A, B, and C. Also, I suggest my approach to the questions for your interest, and also to illustrate my approach to you how to solve the questions. Last but not least, conclusion is very important. I think it's very important for you to know my approach to the F9 examination and also help you to pass it. And finally, we have some time for you for Q&A. So let's move on. Okay. The ACCA F9 pass rate in recent diets is quite good, honestly. For September diet, the pass rate is 48%, which is the highest for, I think, over 3 years' time. And if you check the examiner comments on the F9 pass rate, he is very happy on it. He's satisfied with the overall performance result. And the pass rate generally improved in the new examination structure. After September 16, the examination structure is divided into 3 parts or with 3 sections. Section A, which is the multiple choice questions or objective test questions. Section B, which is the objective test case questions. So it offers 3 cases for the candidates to attempt it. And section C, which is the short questions. You have to answer the questions by calculations, by discussion, and write down on the paper. And next part is about the syllabus and the exam format. Okay. Here, I would like to show you the syllabus of the F9 exams, in which you can see there are 7 parts or 7 areas. The financial management function, financial management environment, which is named as A and B, and also some very important topics, including working capital management, investment appraisal, and also business finance risk management. And section F, or area F, is business valuations. But my suggestion for the candidates to study or revise, review the syllabus is to take this order. Okay. First, suggest to take section area investment appraisal, also the business finance. These 2 parts I will group together. Okay. Because in examination, you will find the investment appraisal and business finance are very highly correlated. They may sit in one question asking both, for example, cost of capital and also to use the cost of capital to evaluate the investment project. For section C, working capital management, and section G, risk management, I would like to say to study these 2 topics together. Why? Because in some examination questions, I can find the working capital management asking for some foreign exchange rate risk management. For example, how to manage some overseas account receivables. In general, it involves some hedging techniques or some basic knowledge of hedging. And the last part is about the business valuation, the section H here. Section H, the business valuations, means the candidates are required to answer the questions by valuing the company values in terms of equity, in terms of cost of debt, in terms of the debt valuation, and also some other financial instruments. On this part, I would like to say the study of business evaluation is a better solution to you to study it with together section A and section B. Why? Because for the business evaluations, the most important part is how to maximize the shareholder value or shareholder wealth, which is the part A, financial management function or the objective of financial management. And for financial management environment, okay, it is quite often for the questions to be appeared in section A, the multiple choice question. I hope you are clear now on the syllabus and exam format. Okay. The next part is about exam format. Format exam. Okay. This article or this paragraph is extracted from the ACCA website, and it's a very long article, so I don't go into details. But I would like to highlight the key items for you to learn, which is helping you to pass the exam. Okay. For section A, 15 objective questions, objective text questions, and 2 marks each. For some questions, okay, you can see the examiner approach. Some questions will take longer to answer than others. Okay, you have to allocate time to whole section. For example, 15 objective text question, 2 marks each is around about 60 minutes, 1 hour to on the section A. But you have to take very important tips to you. Some questions will take longer to answer than others. For example, some numerical calculations, okay, maybe a little bit longer time to spend on the calculation part. You'll spend about maybe 6 minutes, 7 minutes question. But some conceptual questions is quite short. You only spend about 1 minute to read it through, and then you can provide the answers. It's not easy, honestly, to allocate time, because a lot of approach or a lot of tutors suggest, okay, in exam hall, it's about 2 minutes per 1 mark. So if you follow this rule, then 4 minutes per 1 question in section A is logical, but sometimes you have to spend more time in the numerical calculation questions instead of spend more time in the conceptual questions. And for section A questions, it's from the whole F9 syllabus. It's not only one part, okay? They focus on the whole F9 syllabus, but it is knowledge-based, okay? It's not tricky, honestly. You have to know the concept and how to, and you have to know it. Otherwise, you cannot answer the question. And also, you can see the approach by the examiner here. Okay, don't spend too much time on any one question. Okay, it's very important, especially when you are new to the F9 exam format, because each question only carries 2 marks. If you spend about 10 minutes in one question, then you are losing time for the other question. For section B, okay, you will be given 3 cases with 5 items for each case and 2 marks for each item. In other words, total marks for section B is 30 marks as well. I will explain to you later on this part. And for section C, you will be given 2 questions worth 20 marks each. The main focus on section C is on syllabus area C, E, and E. It means the working capital management, it means the investment appraisal, it means the business finance will be tested in section C. So here I would like to highlight for section A, okay, some questions will take longer to answer than others. Allocate time to the whole section instead of just 1 or 2 questions. Okay, I also highlight or underline words here. Okay, rather than trying to allocate time to each individual question. And for section B, okay, 3 cases. Okay, and for section C, focus on syllabus areas C, E, and E. Let me take a look of September examiner's comment in general. What is he talking about? For the performance in September, okay, he found good because the pass rate is quite high. The past 3 years, okay, 48% is not low. And what's the candidate's performance? Okay, it's generally well prepared in techniques requiring calculation. It means, for example, it means the NPV calculation. It means the working capital management. for the cash whole calculation, operating cash cycle calculation, and also for some other areas like the cost of capital calculation is quite good. But candidates are less well prepared in discussing knowledge, explaining terms and concepts. Especially is very important in some discussion question and section A. Okay, I will share with you for section A. It's about 60% of section A, or even more, are conceptual questions or some terms questions. Okay, it's not just calculation. It's only about 40% or even less than 40% is about calculation in section A. So for section B, it's about 50% on the explaining terms and concepts. So on this, you can see for section A and section B, about half of the marks are coming from the terms explanation and also concepts explanation as well. So it's much more important for candidates to prepare for those concepts and terms questions in section A and B. So for candidates to take this examination, okay, the examiner always stress must study the whole of the syllabus. But from my approach, I have some different approaches for you. Okay, if I just say, okay, you have to study the whole syllabus and to pass it, okay, I think it's not talking about the examination technique. Okay, so we go into details for each section. Section A. That's 15 objective test questions. Each question worth 2 marks, with total 30 marks in this section. And the aim for section A is covering the whole F9 syllabus, which means the broad coverage of F9 syllabus, and every areas in FY will be covered, will be tested in section A. Even it's only 15 questions, okay, but the aim of it is to cover all of it. So what's the approach? Here, the first part, okay, I would say here, I mark it first. Practice objective test questions is by examiner. Okay, let me write down by examiner. Okay, by examiner, it suggests the candidates prepare for the exam. Okay, just easy. Practice objective test questions as many as possible. But on. You have to review carefully how correct answers will derive. From my teaching experience on the F9 examination, I found a lot of candidates or students, they would like to practice paper, the BPP materials, for example, other publishers' materials, a lot of them doing a lot of questions they would like to have. Yes, it's good, but you have to review carefully how the correct will be derived. Because for ACCA, they make the questions to you. They provide a lot of questions to you. Sometimes you find it's quite similar for 1 or 2 questions. Okay, it's very similar to find it, but the answer is different because they can change the terms, change the verb, change the position, so that for the candidates, if they just memorize the question they practiced in the past, it's quite easy for them to fall into the trap. So my suggestion is quality, not the quantity. You have to review carefully how correct answers will derive. Okay, it's much more important than you just practice, practice, and practice. And here we would like to share with you how the examiner discussed 2 specific questions that cause difficulty. Okay, I think it's very important to know what the examiner thinks about of section A questions. Okay, here one example for you is about numerical example in section A. There's a company called G. It paid an interim dividend of 6 cents per ordinary share on 31st of October and declared a final dividend of 8 cents on 31st of December. The ordinary shares in the company are trading at a dividend price of $1.83. The question asking you is about what's the dividend yield? What's the dividend yield? So to me, here's some terms that you have to know before you solve this question. First of all, dividend yield is asking for you dividend yield. Okay. Second, you have to find about what is dividend price. Okay, you have to know what is dividend price. So next page, here, dividend yield, ex-dividend price, and dividend price. For this ex-dividend share price, okay, it does not appear in the questions. So you have to know how to calculate the dividend yield. For dividend yield, it's the 20-month divided by X dividend price. Okay, for 12 months dividend divided by X dividend share price, you have to find this information from questions. For the 12-month dividend, okay, I think it's not difficult. You can find interim dividend 6 cents, final dividend 8 cents, altogether means 14 cents, divided by the ex-dividend share price. Okay, how to get the ex-dividend share price? For this ex-dividend share price, okay, it is the dividend share price minus the dividend to pay. Okay, so it means in this question, 1.83 minus X cents, so it comes to 1.75. Then you divide it here 1.75, you got 3%. Okay, here the question tells you what? Tells you what is dividend price. Okay, whether you know dividend yield is the formula of dividend yield. So it's not difficult, but if you don't know, for example, what is dividend price, then you cannot get the answer right. For this question, the examiner comment is some students, they don't know what is dividend price, so they put here, they put $1.83 instead of $1.75 in the calculation, so they get the wrong answer. So the question asking you is about definition that you know it and how to apply this knowledge in your calculation. For numerical, okay, next question, okay, is another one is about a concept. It's extracted from the examiner comments. The question is quite simple. Okay, you spend about 30 seconds, finish it. Question is asking you what role would the money market have in a letter of credit arrangement? Okay, so initial arrangement of the letter of credit, B, acceptance of the letter of credit, C, issuing of a banker's acceptance, D, discounting the banker's acceptance. For us, okay, it's just knowledge base. It's about the money market operations. If you know what is the money market operations about, then it's quite easy for you to learn or to answer the questions. First of all, what is money market? Okay, first of all, what is money market? Money market is the market, it's not a physical market, that some short-term financial are traded. Okay. For example, what instruments, including the treasury bills, including some of the letter of credit, short-term credit, some commercial paper, or even a certificate of deposit. Okay, you can check it in your textbook or learning materials. And in this question, the answer, okay, is if you don't know the operations, money market operations, okay, you can just write guess. But if you know it, then it's quite easy. It's D, discounting the banker's acceptance. This is the only instruments are traded in the money market. For A and B, still arrangement of the letter of credit and the acceptance of the letter of credit is about the commercial bank operation. Some of the issue the letter of credit, they accept the commercial bank operations is on the money market operation. For C, issuing a banker's acceptance is also the commercial bank operation. So the only answer here is the discounting the banker's acceptance, which is trade the instruments in the market. So for section A, the two examples shared by the examiner give us a clue that for examination, okay, it tells you about the basic concept, not very challenging and difficult, but you have to study to answer it. Okay, how about the section B? For section B, 3 cases with 5 objective test questions in each case. Okay, I share with you. And for each question worth 2 marks, with total 30 marks in this section. And questions can come from any area of FY syllabus, but the focus is this area: investment appraisal, business valuation, risk management, and also I would like to say here is a small tick, okay, financial management environment. In my experience, these 3 areas, investment appraisal, business valuation, and risk management share about 70% of section B questions. So if you have limited time, you would like to focus, then for section B, the focus can be on these 3 areas. But honestly, if you just ask the examiner, okay, what's the approach to section B? You study all the syllabus materials. Okay, you cannot just pick 1 or 2 or even 3 topics before going to the exam. But for me, okay, 70% of questions focus on these 3 areas, so we focus on the 3 areas first. For section B, investment appraisal. Okay, examiner highlights 4 key points here. First, did not identify correctly relevant cash flows for a project. Okay, highlight here. I did not identify correctly cash flows. Okay. The second one, main mistakes instead of time of future cash flow. So about the timing. Okay, also the cash flow. For the third point, capital rationing question. Okay, it means that in the capital rationing, some of the cash flow may be inflow or outflows, and the examiners found that the candidates are ignore or not consider the cash outflows. Okay, so what's the conclusion on these 3 areas highlighted by the examiner? I would like to say the most important part is to identify correct timing of all project cash flows. I will share with you more in section C, the topics about the investment appraisal, but in section B, it's already shared with you by the examiners. Identify correct timing of project cash flow is much more important than you just, for example, to pick the correct discount rate or other things, because if the cash flow is wrong, then a lot of marks cannot be gained. So it's very important for the timing of cash flow. And last but not the least, in the investment appraisal under section B is the difficulty in selecting appropriate discount rate. Okay, in what scenario is about the lease versus buy evaluation? Okay, for lease or versus buy evaluation, sometimes the discount rate can be different. For example, if the lease have a specific loan rate, then you have to use the loan rate or the debt rate for discounting. And buy evaluation is about a project rate, maybe different of the component like equity and also debt. Okay, so next part, important topic in section B is business valuation. The examiner highlights questions. Okay, first, is dividend growth model. He asked whether dividend growth model can be used to value a company that is currently not paying any dividend. The answer is yes, it can. Okay. Yes, it can. The dividend growth model can value a company that currently not paying any dividend because the dividend growth model is a discounting of future dividend, okay, not the current dividend. So a lot of candidates or students in the exam hall, they cannot answer it correctly, as explained by the examiner. Also here you can see again, cum dividend versus ex-dividend is also a question, okay. Examiner share with us, some students, they mix up these two concepts, so they cannot answer correctly. In section B, the question about the cum dividend and ex-dividend. So you can see in section A, the question shared by examiner, also cum dividend versus ex-dividend. In section B, also it appears again. So what does the examiner tell us? He tells us that this is a very important concept. You have to know it well, okay, especially in calculation. The calculation can get wrong if you use the wrong denominator. For example, use the cum dividend instead of the ex-dividend in calculating the dividend yield. Last, in section B, business valuation is about a preference share dividend. Okay. The question is asking you calculating the price earning multiple ratio or price earning ratio, and the question is whether the preference share dividend should be or not. Okay. Preference share dividend to a company is quite similar, not exactly the same, it's quite similar to an interest. So it should be deducted before getting the price earning multiple. Otherwise, you cannot get the correct answer. Okay. So I move on to section. In section, we can talk about forex, about the interest rate. It's also about the interest rate options, futures, and forward. The first part, examiner mentioned or share with us is about the lack of understanding of the features of risk management. Okay, I'll highlight the features. I'll highlight the features. This word. Features mean the knowledge. Okay, you found some candidates they are lack of knowledge of risk management derivatives. It's both foreign exchange and interest rate. For hedging, next part is hedging. Okay, let's say his knowledge and hedging is about a calculation. Okay, he found some student making errors in selecting the correct exchange rate. Also, in doing money market hedge, there's no time apportioning in the interest rate. Okay. So bear in mind the hedging is about a calculation. Also, the cost of payment. Okay. It is also a calculation question. So you can imagine in the examination, the examiner asks you how to calculate the hedging cost, how to calculate the cost of deep payment. Okay. Cost of deep payment is not difficult to explain, but a lot of people miss this concept. Cost of deep payment means you expect the exchange rate to go up on the foreign currency, so you are better to pay now instead of to paying later. So you convert your local currency into foreign currency now by the spot exchange rate. So it is the cost of payment. And last, it's about the gap exposure. It's about the knowledge. It's about the knowledge. What is gap exposure in the interest rate? It's about the knowledge. It means you interest when you place the deposit in the bank. If you're borrowing money, you have to pay interest to the bank. So what's the difference between the interest paid and the interest received. Okay, it's about the gap exposure. It can be wide, for example, when the interest rate goes up. So it's about knowledge. So you can see the split of the questions is about 50% on knowledge and 50% about the calculation. Okay. So last but not least in the section B is about the financial management environment. It finds the candidates a lack of understanding about the stakeholder conflict. Okay. Including the people in the community and the shareholder. Okay, they have the conflict of their interest. And what a company should do to maximize shareholder wealth is also a big found by the in September. Okay. We go to section C. Okay. The interesting section in paper because you can write down your answers, not just pick A, C, or D. So in section C, 2 constructive response questions. Each question is worth 20 marks with total 40 marks in this section. Candidates in general perform better on calculation-based questions than the discussion parts. Okay, I'll share with you in the general comments as well. And the syllabus areas covered in this section, including working capital management, including business finance, and also investment appraisal. Okay, let's go through by them one by one. Examiner tips in section C. Okay, before going into the details of each area, I would like to share the examiner tips. It's for the requirements. Okay, sometimes you can read the examiner comments saying that the candidates that address the requirements of the question is quite weak. So how weak is it? You have to know, okay, the different requirements. Like, for example, to calculate, then you only do the calculation, carefully label the calculation. But if it is calculate and comment, then you have to make a comment based on your outcome of your calculation. For F9 examination, right now about only 40% is on top. So I think right now it's not so hard for the student to get. But for professional examination, like P1, P2, P3, or P4 professional papers, all questions are, there's no multiple choice questions, all questions that you have to write down the answer. You have to bear in mind the word. For example, the verb calculate, the verb calculate and comment, then you have to make your answers based on these requirements. And last, if asked, is critically discussed. Okay, examiner share with us. It is very sufficient to simply list a few points to answer the question. In other words, it expects a quite complete discussion when he asks you to critically discuss. The discussion should involve looking at a viewpoint or a statement in more than one way. So you have to show your good point, also the bad point. The easy example for you to refer is about NPV. To ask you whether the NPV is the superior model, okay, evaluating projects. If it is comparing to payback, to accounting rate of return, what good? Also, sometimes you have to also mention the best NPV as well. So here, the discussion should focus on not only one way, should be broad, and better. Examiner tips. The second one is about exercise good time management. Okay. One example is he shared with us some candidates write down a lot of points, answer the 6 marks question, which is asking to provide 3 points. He's saying that some candidates provide 5 points, 6 points, but requires only ask you for once. So better keep in mind good time management, including don't write too much. And you must use the information provided in the question. For example, tax rate. Sometimes the tax rate is not a 30%. Sometimes it's 5% or 20%. You have to follow the rules given in the question. Okay, next, section C, the working capital management, finance, and investment appraisal. I will share these three topics to you. And what the examiner would like us to alert in future exam. The topics include factors offer, whether it is acceptable, managing foreign accounts, receivables, cash operating cycle, and also the working capital funding strategy. I highlight here not good in precise. Why? Because when you find examiner comment saying, okay, it's not good, it's not answered well, it's imprecise, quick, then you have to prepare similar questions which will happen in the next or the next after one after next exam. So the next example here, the cash operating cycle. I still remember the cash operating cycle questions answered by the candidates in 2016 and also early 2017. This comment not good. So it happens again, and again. In this time, okay, I found the work done very well. In my opinion, for cash operating cycle, okay, it may go back to maybe section B or section A, okay, because the students are well prepared for it. But for some not well prepared questions like factors over working capital funding strategies, okay, you have to keep in mind, okay, in the past it's not good or the candidates cannot answer well. So you have to prepare for these questions which will happen in next one on the one after next examination. I put a remark here, benefits versus cost approach for factors of, okay, you have a factor offer, have it or not, it depends on whether the benefit more than cost. If it is less, then you take the offer. Otherwise, you don't take the offer. For the working capital strategies here, okay, a lot of students are not familiarized with permanent fluctuating current assets and also the conservative and aggressive financing policy. They may only use some simple words to explain it. I remember the question asks you detailed explanation. The total mark is about 8 marks or 9 marks. So you have to prepare for these questions. You have the precise explanation of the permanent and fluctuating current assets, how to finance it. Okay. How to finance it. Okay. Next, section C. This topic is about business finance. Business finance means you have to work on the cost of capital, the WACC, some sources of finance. And the topics here, the examiner lists out 4 topics to address. The first is about evaluation of a type of debt. Okay. The examiner mentioned. Okay. The candidates are confused. Use of finance and provide finance. Sometimes, okay, when you study the old the syllabus on the debt valuation, okay, it's about the valuation part. Sometimes you work on the cost of capital. It's about the business finance. So when the question asks you about business financing, for example, in section C, your focus should be a company using the finance. For the cost of debt calculation, it has a sheet. So write down the simple formula just to in reference box. Cost of debt times 1 minus T. Okay, because you have the debt minus T, you have the gearing yourself. But if you work on the business valuation to value debt instruments, it's investor, they don't have the tax benefit by investing in the debt instrument, so you don't need to take the tax rate in your calculation. Okay. So here the question here only appears, this formula only appears in finance. Next, estimating cost of capital. It's quite good. It's quite good. The candidates can understand well between DCF, dividend growth model, the capital asset pricing model, the CAPM. Also, the WACC calculation is quite good. But some candidates they confused about the book value and the market value. Okay. And for the cost of debt, as I mentioned here, okay, not using after tax in RRR, they use the pre-tax cost of debt. So it's wrong. So next part is about the source of finance. Okay, in this source of finance, the candidates are asked to assess the impact of the cost of capital on investment, for example, including circumstances under which WACC can be used. Okay, it's not so difficult, so he doesn't address for any part here, but just share with us. Okay, the question asking to help to assess the impact of the cost of capital in different circumstances. What's the WACC can be used? Last but not least, is about the capital structure theory. Okay, the only problem is high level gearing. Okay, but it's generally quite good. For example, in the high levels of gearing, what's the problem? Somebody cannot borrowing money from the bank. They have some issues on the cash flows because of the high level of gearing. Means a lot of interest to pay. But in general, the performance is quite satisfactory. Okay. For section C, last topic is about investment appraisal. Here, the most important part is about the superiority of the discount cash flow question over non-DCF approach. It's one very important part. It's about the discussion, not calculation. The examiner wants the candidates to improve this area for discussion about DCF over versus the non-DCF, also the MPE approach versus IR approach. For the inflation and taxation in DCF, here the problem is per year inflation rate, also incorrect discount rate in real and versus nominal terms. One example is okay, one example share is about this past paper. It's very important. Okay, I will share with you later on this exam sample paper. Also adjusting tax and uncertainty. Also, he also shared with us to this question as well. Last, specific investment decision. Okay, about capital rationing. Okay, again, it's our old friend. Capital rationing appear again because the candidates, they cannot differentiate between divisible approach and indivisible approach. I will share with you this question later. Okay, so don't worry on it. The approach to questions. Okay, here the questions a bit long, but I would like to share with you for part A and also part B. Part A is the discussion between risk and uncertainty. For part B, it's about the calculation of the expected net present value. So what's my approach to this question? Okay, for part A, talk about the risk and uncertainty. For risk, you can assign the probability, for example, 40%, 30%, and 30%. Okay, so sum together is 100% of each scenario, A, B, C. For uncertainty, there's no probability can be assigned. So it's uncertain. The approach is you explain what is risk. You explain what is uncertainty. Then you get 2 marks, okay, because it's only 3 marks questions. The other 1 mark is you can explain the difference. Okay, probability 1. Okay, so one is quantifiable, the other is not quantifiable. And for the risk, it can be changed. For example, for the returns, it can go up higher or lower, depends on variance of the return. For the uncertainty, it is along with the project life. When the project life is getting longer, then the uncertainty will be higher. So it's different. Okay, it's different. So for these 3 marks question, you have to explain what is risk, what is uncertainty, and what is the difference. Okay, then you get 3 marks. Here's the approach. And the next part is about the calculation. Okay, what's the approach? To me, for questions like this type, calculation question, you have to get used to some templates. For example, when you comes to the net present value calculation, you have, for example, you have this template from year 0, okay, for example, to the end of the project life. Here maybe year 4, year 5, it depends. The project lasts for 4 years, right? But why I put 5 years? Okay, because of the tax cash flow. Okay, I will share with you later on this part. And when you have the template put in your Excel worksheet, if you take computer-based exam or paper exam, you write down the template, then you have to first of all to go into the working. Because for working, it also can give you some marks. If you make the working correctly, even your NPV calculation is not get correct. For working, okay, here is calculating what? Calculating the sales income cash flow. Okay, the sales income cash flow, because it asks you to get the price, which is here the price is changing 3.5% per year. So you have to work in your work showing the price has inflation and you get the nominal price to get the sales income per each year from year 1 to year 4. Okay. And the second working is about cost. For the cost here, okay, it's tricky because the cost here you have to use the expected value, $12. How? Okay, by different scenario, it's provided in the examination paper. Probability 45%, 35%, and also 20%. Then you get the expected value. But here, the expected value is not adjusted for any inflation. So you have to work on your inflation numbers here. Times the volume, and you get total variable cost. Okay. Because today the time is very limited, so I only share with you some basic concepts. But if you have some more time, I can share much more how to tackle this. For the third working is about the depreciation allowance. So because it has a fixed investment 20 million, okay, with the depreciation is on a RBD using balance basis. Here you get the depreciation 25% on a reducing balance basis method. And last but not the least, the cost. Terminal value is 0. So the depreciation here, the last year is balancing allowance. You get the numbers, then you can come up with NP. Okay, so bear in mind. Okay, I have to show the temp. First of all, you have the template. Okay, next one, you have working sales, and also you have the working on the TAE, the taxable allowance depreciation. Okay, then you put down the numbers on the template, you can get the NPV calculation correct. Okay, I think it's time to go into the conclusion part. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on each approach. So conclusion, okay, one page only. For the conclusion, here I share with you the estimated weighting in exam for each area from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Here, okay, for investment appraisal, you can see it is on every section, A, B, C. So it's a very important topic. And together with investment appraisal, you have to study business finance well. So I would like to group these together for your study, options. And next part, after clearing D and E, next part go with working capital management and risk management. Okay, so here, first, here the second one. It's almost covering about 60 or 70% of the whole examination. When you have time to study further, it's about the business valuation and also A and B. Okay, here I would like to say the third priority to study A, B, and F. I hope the webinar tonight can help you to study the exams. And if you have any questions, you can just raise now so that I can see on the screen.